So it's 8:22, almost 8:30. In some other video, don't know if it's posted or not, I went on explaining how my sleep schedule has been just completely turned around because of my job situation. I'll be going back to the school next week. And I think I will say this, I don't think I'm gonna do it next year. I don't think I'll be doing the school setting next year. It's just too much exposure to matrix energies that I'm trying to get away from. Things that almost are too close to home pulled me into like a version of me that feels like I need to put a shell on like a protective shell. Work is really good space to look at where your where you're creating old patterns and making unconscious decisions that otherwise would make you resentful. I don't even know if otherwise was the word. Scratch that. Basically what I'm saying is not putting down boundaries where you could have and then being resentful about it. That's what I was noticing. So I'm looking at that as that's something that I want to change. It is a habit I've been dealing with for a while. I'm trying to emulate a better sleeping pattern before I go back to the school so that I'm not hating myself and so tired. And I just didn't have it in me, but I see it. Hopefully we could redo it better tomorrow. One thing I don't like is being a tired soul in a human body. So I noticed that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now, is feeling like, oh, I don't even know what to do with myself now because I don't have access to receiving coffee, which is my dopamine. And my mind is trying to convince me, I'm aware of it. It's trying to make me believe that my day is going to be horrible. There's nothing to look forward to, that I don't even have the motivation or inspiration to do what I am passionate about without my dopamine, which is pretty sad. My mind gets ahead of myself and puts two words together. It's funny. So as you can see, I look like I've been sleeping, which I have been. It is my favorite kind of day, so I'm thinking maybe I'll go for a walk. It is literally cloudy outside. Sometimes I wonder if I was reincarnated, obviously. Since I was little, even before I could remember being in my body, I remember being like a crow or something, or some eagle. And I used to just perch up by these really old but fancy design buildings, tall. Almost like New York City, London, or where I'm from, Patterson. Even though it's nothing like New York City or London, I'm sure. I've never been there in this lifetime. My dog keeps trying to get into my cat's food, which I made a special space in my closet for, so they don't do that. It's like I'm becoming aware of whenever I make new things, how much I fall into victim mindset. Like it serves me or something. Like if I want Austin to maybe feel my struggle, but it should be enough for me to feel it. I hate that. Sometimes I need to do that. It feels like sometimes when he's not here, I validate myself better. I have no choice, but I guess it's not even his fault. It tells me that I want his validation, and I just keep finding new layers of that. And I think that's perfectly fine, I guess, to want validation from your partner, but in my life, I'd rather create that in myself first and then maybe argue about not receiving it from him for whatever. But if I'm not giving that to myself, how can I expect it from him? He's so cute right now. So I'm in the bed. I have no motivation to do anything. No motivation to edit recordings. No motivation to look at YouTube videos, but I am creating one. Hopefully it will be some kind of value, even though I'm learning that just being me is adding value. I don't need to be doing everything all at once. But I do notice it did flow so much easier to do things at nighttime. And of course, because it's where you're alone. And I was just alone for a couple days before Austin came back from seeing his family. So it's like a little cycle, I guess. A phase I had to reroute. It might even work for me, who knows? I don't know what kind of sleep schedule I'm going to have. I'm almost even expecting that I might not be able to stick through the rest of the school year with this, because my other client got 10 hours, raised 4 more hours a week, and that's not a big deal, but that is a lot of hours for me to be working. It's 30 hours. I believe it's 30 hours. And it's like, I know there's people who work 40 hours a week. That's fine. That's not my standard. Even 10 hours a week, I struggle with. I want my time. I love my time. I love to just be able to have free thought and do things based on my intrinsic inspiration and intuitive guidance, not driven by time constraints and money that I can only do limited things with, but I'm not owning that in this timeline anymore. I am receptive to the timeline where I am just open and receptive to receiving, and I get to use that money to invest and create a better world somehow. And to plant seeds everywhere, because I look around and I don't see people happy, but we could all learn something from each other. So I think that's something I can learn. I can teach others, and I can learn a lot. So who knows? I'm noticing and feeling a little sad, the almost desire to be cold in some aspects of my relationship. I guess just because of fear of not being worthy. I know it's sad. Oh, Maya, she just sat on my glasses. I can't. So let's say if I feel unworthy and then I perceive some action he takes just in his own, just doing something as if that's me being unworthy of love, that I'm believing in my narrative and I'm now projecting it onto him and seeing him through the lens. And then I act in a way that almost creates that, because it catches up, it sneaks up on you sometimes, and you have to recognize where you're feeling down and like, I need to feel this so I don't act out on it unconsciously and do things and make people feel the way I don't want to feel. And I think that's a big test too sometimes, because that's where grace comes in. And it's, if you are really graceful, then it will take a lot more than someone being who they are to trigger you into being what you don't want to be. So I'm learning that, and I'm grateful for the opportunities very much. I just want to hug Austin. I love him so much. It is annoying though how much my mind tries to see, with my PTSD, look at the things that he could do better, and the way I do it, I guess, in a way I'm not noticing or giving him credit for what he does do. So I'm working on that, and I really want to get into, I guess, a meditative state, because I didn't want to bulldoze through. It was 6:30, and I didn't really feel like getting up yet, which in my mind, ideally, I would like to have just gotten up and let it come to me. I noticed my mind trying to make me feel like something more productive, like if I'm not good enough to just sit in the bed. I'm recognizing that, but my mind can see it more like things that add to my life, like things that I want to do, things that add a boost in my life of some sort, like reading a book or learning something that I could apply throughout my day, or something fun, creative that I can build on, I guess, and be excited about. And I notice that when I'm thinking immediately of my dopamine and then I don't get to fulfill that expectation, I think that's when the cortisol kicks in. Stress. Because I had an expectation, and so almost a sense of doom comes in. And usually in those moments is where I'll find myself in situations where I decide last minute to go and grab my coffee, even though I know Austin has to be at work at some point soon. And I'll just think, I have the perfect amount of time. If everything goes perfectly, then I should be able to get back here in time for you to go to work. But that rarely ever happens, and usually I would have put myself and him in a situation where he's feeling upset because he's late now more than he needed to be, and I'm agitated because somehow Murphy's Law, in those moments that I thought things were going to go perfectly, something small like a traffic light coming as soon as I'm building momentum could throw me off. And then I start noticing other things everywhere else. Someone's rude, or someone cut me off in traffic, and then that builds up, and little things like me being upset about that. Of course, all these things are happening when I'm just trying to hurry up. And then he'll be mad, and not really mad, but just clearly not happy. And that makes me sad because I'm super perceptive. I feel the slightest dip in his energy, and I used to feel apprehensive about that, because that used to mean when I was a child that I wasn't in someone else's unregulated emotions, meant my being a target. So that equated to not being safe. And I really try to be honest about these things and where it's coming up. And I guess sometimes on the outside it looks like it's a detriment to me, but what I know is I'm just becoming aware of things most people don't really see in their own lives, and maybe I'll be a way shower in that way, I don't know. But eventually I'm just going to be noticing all the things that I love in my life. I pay attention. That means that I will notice when something is improved, and that might to someone look like I'm dwelling, but I'm actually expressing what used to be and how we're not here anymore. We improved. And sometimes I'll get manic about it, even focus and put energy into things that about the past version of me that I didn't understand or agree with, which would sometimes put me in a space where I'm in a triangulation, because then I'm talking down on myself in a way, not really, but realizing in hindsight things, and then so I'm holding the space of my past self, and then I'm engaging with Austin about the past self. He's responding in regard to my past self and saying things that is almost like, I thought that was kind of crazy too, or stupid, or whatever. And I wouldn't realize in my mind that I had an expectation of how he was going to receive it and respond. And so if I think that he could have been nicer, I'm realizing the way my mind tries to have control over that. I have to let you know you weren't being kind to me. I have to be in control in that way. And if you don't tell me that you understand right now, then you don't understand. But I'm learning that was a symbol and sign and symptom of me not honoring my own emotions and not validating my own emotions. Still trying to get validated through him, trying to get him to understand and accept what I feel is valid, instead of doing the things that a person who really believes that would do. It's probably speak up for herself in a kind way, and because she knows she deserves love, so she speaks in a way that's gentle instead of aggressive and defensive. Or she holds a boundary and she walks away, or does something that a self-loving person would do, not something that's self-destructive. So I'm at least glad I'm letting out what my emotions are, because it sometimes feels like a cloud. I just can't figure, I don't know where's the thread to start pulling at to unravel it. And it's interesting, I'm not tired right now, but I'm almost wanting to be, because I know that I will be tired. I don't even know, I don't want to create a self-fulfilling prophecy, but even, let's say I went to sleep at 12 the other day, 12 p.m., meaning I didn't go to sleep at nighttime. I went to sleep at 12 p.m., almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then there was another day I went to sleep at 10. Another day I went to sleep at 9, 8. It just kept going. And I'll notice that when I do sleep, it's cool because it'll feel like a nap instead of a whole shift, which I guess maybe sometimes is needed. Hence probably why I feel so rejuvenated right now in a way. I'm a little rejuvenated, but with less inspiration, desire to do anything with it. But I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, even so, let's say I go to sleep at 12 or 10 a.m. and I wake up at 5. I'll still feel kind of tired. But it's funny because I won't really, it's a new way of sleep that I didn't experience before. So check this. If you got woken up 3 times in the middle of the night, you'd probably get annoyed, frustrated, annoyed, yes. But and I have dreamy naps, so I already know that. So I don't mind. I love naps. So if I get my sleep cut off and I'm not sleepy anymore, cool. Then I'm going to take a nap when I do get that sleepiness. And I'm going to count that towards my sleep. So that's what I got to do with this new sleeping. Let's say I go to sleep at 10, 11, 12, 1. 3 hours later, it's 1 o'clock. And let's say Austin comes in from work or just from playing with his friends or something and says hi to me. And we stop in, he asks if I want something to eat or something. And I'll say yes or no, whatever. That's an opportunity for like a segment. And just knowing that I can go back to sleep after that, it feels like dreamy. It feels like a princess. I get to eat. I get to go back to sleep, even though I say not to do that. And I don't really like doing that. Like, I usually don't get hungry until 3-4 hours of me being up already, which is not very ideal, but I think it is in my own way, in my own world, I guess. But not when I'm trying to fit in with the world, because breakfast and lunchtime windows are quite, I guess, particular. But so I really would like to take in what I'm learning about the sleep. I'm wondering how it could exist with my schedule going back to the school. I don't know if it can in a healthy way, so that's why I'm trying to get back to sleeping at a normal time, which is why I feel disoriented. My rhythm is off. I keep dropping things, but it's okay. I'm not going to focus on that. So I guess throughout my day, I'm just going to try to pamper myself and be loving without the need for crazy dopamine. Maybe I'll do a sleepy time tea, even though that's not the best thing. I had to get the brand of green tea that I like, which is Bigelow. I got a brand from Aldi because I ran out the other day and I don't know why, I just decided to check it out. And I tried and I got a bunch and I don't really like it. It tastes not as like spiced, I guess. I don't know. Though I do add pepper and ginger, which is amazing. I definitely recommend it if you like a little kick. And honey, obviously. So I'm just gonna relax. I've been braiding my hair since I got it done. Well, conditioned. deep conditioned, like I said, from that lady. And I haven't had to deal with any crazy knots, which I don't know yet. Is it because I put it in a braid? Is it because the deep conditioning? Is it because of the spray and leave-in conditioner that she gave me? I don't know yet. We'll see. But I'm grateful because my hair feels definitely much more moisturized, I guess, soft, tameable. I wonder how long that's gonna last. And I really want to figure out what the variables were that made it so dry. And it sounds self-explanatory, but what is it that I'm doing now that's gonna really make the difference? It could be the conditioning. I don't know. Also, one more thing, I've been noticing my worry come up stronger, which is like I'm trying to sit with it, but it's like Austin has a hard time with it too. But I mentioned before how Maya needs surgery, and I don't know how many videos she needs surgeries to remove. Try to like imagine it healed, but it's a lump, I guess, full of with pus. It is non-cancerous, which is a good thing, but it is now starting to irritate her to the point where she's scratching it and it's bleeding. And I try to like more focus on sending love and healing energy to her. I guess I'm realizing where I had a drive to really zone in on my passions, because that would make it easier for me to get the funds to pay for her surgery. But I realized I just kept putting myself on a hamster wheel, justifying the long hours and overextended flow states. At that point, I'm just neglecting myself when I was sitting in the same position for hours and with just a goal in mind of get this done and let this time pass so that we can get money, so that we can get her surgery. But I'm not really being present in any part. And then I'm just feeling then resentful about it because no one knows that this is what I'm doing it all for. Of course, obviously, my passions are my passions. Yes. I hope you can hear me. I might have been blocking myself, but these are my passions. But I definitely attached them to my passions, to creating a better life for them. And that's what I want to do. I want to give them the best life. And that's just a fractal too, because I want to have kids one day. So I want to give my kids a better life. And I feel like I'm so grateful the way that my dogs teach me, somehow reflect to me and bring out things in me that help me to reflect on who I am and my life. Almost like I think that what children help their parents do. And I don't have children yet. So I'm grateful for my dogs and my cats and Austin, my inner child. Alright, I'm starting to get hungry now. I might have some cereal. And I realize my mind keeps trying to get me to get the dopamine, but I know underneath that there's a little girl who just wants safety and to feel like I belong, and this is a world for my enjoyment, and I just need to expand on that in some ways. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.